Bienvenue à la conférence.
Welcome to the press conference following our informal meeting of the Council of the European Union. I give you the floor. Good afternoon to all of you. Obviously, I'd like to begin by thanking the French President for his hospitality in this magnificent setting, which is full of history, and it's also made it possible for us to work with a view to the future, particularly the future of Europe, at a moment which is a difficult one because we are facing a war on the continent of Europe. The Versailles Declaration has been formally approved a few moments ago, and it will remain in the annals of the European projects. And there's a reason for this. For some time now, we have understood that it is essential to embark upon an agenda of sovereignty, of strategic autonomy for the European Union, to be seen reflected in its ambition to take into consideration the strengths, the advantages, what brings the Europeans together, but also take a look at the fragilities that exist we're going to try to correct and strengthen. This meeting at Versailles comes at a moment when, just 2 weeks ago, Russia embarked upon a war against Ukraine. And for 2 weeks now, the European Union has demonstrated how strong it is, how solid it is, how united it is. We've been able to come together to decide in favor of unprecedented sanctions, which have we're there to support in every way possible, financially, in humanitarian terms, the men and women of Ukraine. We have a European ambition, which is one of peace. We've been mobilizing equipment, including military equipment, and some 500 million euros additionally has been added to the peace facility. So we're there to support Ukraine. We've also been discussing the application by Ukraine, as it was by Georgia and Moldova, and we wanted to make our point clear to our Ukrainian friends, who of course are full members of the European family, and we want to say to them that we will stand by them and mobilize very quickly in order to strengthen the links that we have with the population of Ukraine. And we will also be there to support their choices on their path, which is a European path. We have also had the opportunity to discuss the way in which Europe can embark upon the agenda of sovereignty. Let me quickly run through the 3 pillars that we have today set out in the declaration. We are looking to the future in this way to give an impetus to the European project, to make it a committed and robust one. First of all, we have the question of energy. This is not new today, this challenge of energy. We've decided to embark upon climate neutrality by 2050, and the idea is to move towards greater independence while facing the humanitarian challenges. And there are a number of points that we want, obviously, to deal with. First of all, there's the question of prices and the impact for families throughout Europe, and also for businesses. And the question of dependence, which is too great. That's what we're seeing today, particularly our dependence on Russia. And we're pursuing that ambition. We want to release ourselves from that dependency so that we can act as best we can in line with our own interests, in line with our objectives. And obviously, for the next winter, we need a particular plan. Now, all of this is agreed on by the Council, together with the Commission, which is going to be following up on our work here. And this is a very consistent agenda that has been initiated. Secondly, the question of defense and security. Defense Europe. We've been talking about this for a long time. Some progress has already been made, but there's no denying the fact that 2 weeks ago we woke up in a different Europe, in a different world. We can't deny the fact that the actions taken over the last few days, in fact, consecrate the emergence of a European defense. It has formally been initiated through the meeting today in Versailles. And we have now an operational strategy in which we will identify the actions and investments that are going to be necessary. We've also identified how it's going to be possible to roll out a European industrial base, taking on board the different challenges, that of cybersecurity, that of space, for instance, just to cite two examples. So there too, there's a timeline, an agenda that has been set. That is a mission for the Commission, and progress will be made further. Third point that I'd like to mention, the importance of consolidating our economic base. Europe is there to work in the interest of peace, security and prosperity. There's an economic pillar, in other words. So it's up to us, it's up to our generation to take decisions today that are going to make that economic base far more robust, far more resilient. And here I can refer to what we've done in the area of health. We've seen with COVID how important it is to coordinate even further. There's also the ambition linked to the semiconductors, chips, raw materials, critical materials, and of course the vital need to continue to be committed to innovation, particularly technological innovation. So just in a few words, that's what I can say about these very significant decisions that have been taken today. And there's a real awareness shared by all of the leaders of Europe here in Versailles. We're all aware of the importance of the moment that we're living through and the decisions that we're taking, not just for tomorrow and the next few months, but for coming generations.
La paix, la prospérité, la sécurité.
We must move towards peace, prosperity and security. These are the challenges we must pick up so that we can see tangible results. More independence, more sovereignty, less fragility, and a greater ability to determine our own fate for the European Union. We'll have the opportunity to come back to the implementation of all of these measures because there's going to be a European Council in Brussels in 2 weeks' time. We'll be taking a look at energy and other issues. We also intend, before the June summit, to have an extraordinary summit, which means that we'll be able to take a look again at security and defense. So once again, I'd like to thank President Macron for having brought us here today in Versailles at such a symbolic place, symbolic moment. It's at the heart of European history. And yesterday and today, we came together to carry through this ambition for Europe. Thank you.